Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another video, and today we are going to talk about the Draftkings, ticker symbol DKNG. And so let's just go ahead and get right into it. As you know, Draftkings has tanked about 60-70% from all-time highs, something like that. And I think a lot of people have this false notion that it is because retail traders have been getting out of the stock and because growth stocks have fallen out of favor. But the honest truth is, the reason why DraftKings has tanked so much and has lost a significant amount of its market cap is because institutional investors have actually been getting out of the stock. The institutions have been panic selling. Now, obviously, not every single institution has been panic selling. I mean, you still have some people like ARK Invest and people like that who are still in the stock, and that's great. But it would seem, based on the stock price movement, based on Q3 earnings, and now moving on to Q4 earnings, it would seem that the fact that the stock has dropped so much after Q4 earnings, you can see that Wall Street is starting to digest these numerous earnings reports from DraftKings, and they no longer believe in the stock. It's obvious. That's why they are out of the stock. And so the main thing here is it really doesn't matter, but we're just going to go ahead and get into a little bit of why they feel that way. So here's what Wall Street believes, right? They believe that DraftKings is spending too much money to acquire customers that may or may not ever be loyal. And I think that's the key here. You know, Wall Street understands that they're in the growing phase because sports betting is still a growing and expanding industry. You still have many states that have not even legalized it. And so Wall Street understands that, okay, you're going to have to spend a lot of money to get those customers. However, what Wall Street is kind of thinking about here is, can they keep those customers? And right now, Wall Street is questioning that part, whether they can actually keep those customers. And the other thing that Wall Street is questioning, which is probably the biggest reason why the stock has sold off, is whether DraftKings will actually become profitable long term. Now, obviously, people like me and most of you guys watching this video, we're big DraftKings bulls. We 100% think that DraftKings will become profitable. And I think that's because we really understand sports betting and how huge it's going to be. And I would say this too. DraftKings is actually estimated to have the highest or second highest customer retention rate in the U.S. sports betting market. So I'm not entirely sure why Wall Street kind of feels this way, but regardless, we know that that's how they feel because they're writing about it in their little publications, you know. So let's go ahead and just put this whole thing into perspective, right? You know, these are my thoughts about this whole thing. So DraftKings has mostly held anywhere from 25 to 30%, sometimes even more than that, of the sports betting market share in each state, which is really good. And also, let's be honest here, guys, there's really only four main players here in U.S. sports betting. And those four companies that are the four major players would be FanDuel, which is probably number one. Then you've got DraftKings, which is more than likely second. Then MGM, and then you've probably got Caesars at number four. Those are your top four players that are probably going to be here for the long term within the next 4 to 5 years in this sports betting industry. Penn Gaming and Rush Street Interactive, which are definitely major players as well. However, they don't have nearly as much of the market share as those four companies do that I just named. And then you've got some smaller companies that I've seen a few people on Twitter and YouTube talking about, which I don't know why, because they're not going to be here long term, but that's just my opinion. And so the key with the sports betting thing is, can you pick the long-term winners in this space? And so I do want to say this. I am a shareholder of MGM as well. I don't see any reason why you can't hold all of them. I do not hold FanDuel, which it's an OTC stock. The parent company is Flutter Entertainment. I don't hold that one, but BetMGM and DraftKings, I'm a huge fan of. I'm very bullish on both stocks. Obviously, I have a much larger position in DraftKings, but I do have some shares in MGM as well. Really like the company, and so I think the main reason why it doesn't really matter what Wall Street thinks now is because, you know, Wall Street is very data and analytically driven. And I think I'm coming more so from a fundamental common sense, I'm actually in the sports betting industry, I know what it is kind of thing. You know, I think a lot of these people maybe sports bet a little bit, but I don't think they really understand how serious sports betting is. You know, I'm actually ingrained in the sports betting culture. Like I'm not a degenerate gambler, you know, but I do gamble every once in a while, and my friends like to gamble a lot for sure. So I do go to the casino. We do use the app. I know plenty of people who bet on sports, And I just understand how big this industry is going to be. I really do. This is going to be a several $1 trillion industry. It really is. And it's good that they're finally legalizing sports betting, because, the whole thing with that is people are going to do what they want to do. You can't stop people from doing what they want to do, no matter how you feel about it. People have just been sports betting illegally for decades. And now that it's finally legal, one thing that I think is another upside for DraftKings is as sports betting starts to expand to more and more states, you're going to start to see more people come out of the illegal market and go more into the legal market. At least that's what I think. I mean, I definitely did it. I'm not going to throw myself out there, but when they legalized sports betting in Illinois, I moved over to, some of the other apps that they allowed and things like that. And I think that's what Wall Street isn't really counting on. And, Wall Street always kind of tends to be late to the party on some stuff, too. I think for us, the key is going to be to see and understand the growth that DraftKings could possibly have. And the other thing that I really want to touch on is a lot of people are saying that DraftKings is going to be acquired. They're going to get taken out. Somebody's going to buy them. I don't quote me on this because I don't have my notes in front of me, but last time I checked, DraftKings still has like an $18 billion market cap. No way anybody's going to acquire them. BetMGM doesn't have the money. FanDuel doesn't have the money, at least as far as I know. I got to go back and look at FanDuel's market cap. But yeah, as far as I know, nobody's going to acquire DraftKings, especially at this point. It's still a huge market cap, still a huge company. And I don't think the CEO wants to be acquired. You know what I think is more realistic? I think it's very possible that DraftKings could merge with somebody like FanDuel. I can really see that. And as a matter of fact, DraftKings and FanDuel actually almost merged in the past. There are interviews with the CEO where he talked about that and said that DraftKings and FanDuel were going to merge at one point, but it didn't happen. Now that a lot of stocks are starting to tank, especially in the sports betting industry, because it's not just DraftKings. I mean, Penn National Gaming, that stock has been in the gutter too. There's some other stocks that have really gotten destroyed. And that's one thing I will say. I would not be surprised to see DraftKings merge with somebody. That would actually make a lot of sense. I've seen people say that Disney might acquire DraftKings. Disney can definitely afford DraftKings, but I definitely don't see it. I know that two companies that Disney really likes is Caesars, I believe, and DraftKings. And I don't know. I just don't see it. I think Disney will more so be a partner with DraftKings rather than acquire them. But who really knows? But overall, I'm still extremely bullish on DraftKings. I think there are a lot of things that Wall Street isn't taking into consideration. They're doing all these numbers and analytics and all this math and things like that. But that doesn't always tell the full story or give you the full projection. Sometimes you just got to look at a company and just understand, like, is this business model going to work in the future, and is this company going to be here for the next 10 years? And I think that DraftKings will. I think a lot of people in the sports betting industry will not be here in the long term, but I think DraftKings will be here to stand the test of time, even if they end up merging with FanDuel, which would be cool. I would actually like that. Then we give shares of I don't know how they would do it, but I'm assuming we'd probably get shares of DraftKings and FanDuel, which is cool with me. So that'll go ahead and conclude this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, that whole thing, and I will see you guys in the next one.